Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment or medications if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here. Visit bewelltexas.org.
Hello and welcome to March to the Pod, presented by Eternal Roofing, a show that is not off to the greatest of starts. I made a new intro video, Ben, and then I forgot to upload it onto the StreamYard. So that's where we're at today. It is great to be back. It's been 2 weeks. As you can see, I moved. Right?
Oh, yeah. That's why we were out last week.
That's exactly what it was. It has nothing to do with a lot of meetings or anything like that. No. I moved, and you can also see the hat.
Space Cowboys, it looks like.
Oh, it is. You know who's going to be Space Cowboys this year?
Maybe Walker Yannick.
Nah. Gabe Hogue, man. Gabe Hogue and the Burt Burnett Little League. We're the Space Cowboys. We're going to have black jerseys with the teal lettering and numbers and stuff. And, it's machine pitch.
There you go.
Yeah, we're starting. Dude, I still have how many more years of this? 6 more years of coaching Little League baseball. They're going to announce a retirement for me when I'm done.
Yeah.
It is great to be back, and sorry that if you don't like this silly banter, I apologize. If you do, I still apologize. This is
both.
Season 2, Episode 24, the 2025 National Signing Day edition, and we're going to discuss today about the Cat signing class and other news with that program right now. We've got a preview of the softball season coming up with the Bearkat Classic this weekend, and men's and women's basketball updates and previews of their games this weekend. I'm your host and producer and formerly band member of catfans.com. Also, full NCAA eligibility, but ain't nobody ever going to want me to use that crap, okay? Corey Hogue, the non-FBS insider at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Find me on your favorite social media channels at Corey Hogue Sports. It's all one word, CORYHOGUE Sports. The knowledge of this show is provided by the creator and manager of Sports of SHSU. Again, it's all one word. On Twitter and Instagram, the chief operating officer of the Cat Fund and proud Bearkat alum, Ben Sorrells. And Ben, I know you're aware the Super Bowl's coming up.
Yes.
On Sunday, and there are 3 former Texas non-FBS players in the game. There is one from Houston Christian playing for Philadelphia, Jalix Hunt.
Yep.
There's one. He is really good. There's one. I wrote a feature on him last year. There's one from we love Stephen F. Austin here, right?
No.
Oh, wrong show. There's one at Stephen F. Austin, and that's
the edge rusher. What's his name?
B.J. Thompson.
Yep.
And then there's one more for the Philadelphia Eagles that is a Bearkat alum, and that is Tristan McCollum. And I bring this up 2 reasons. Number one, celebrate the fact that there's a cat in the Super Bowl. And number 2, be on the lookout. Friday, maybe tomorrow afternoon, Friday, somewhere around in there. Little preview profile, some quotes in there from some of the former coaching staff at Sam Houston on Tristan McCollum. And just the thing that impresses me, we know he's a twin, but Zion was always the higher touted one at all the times, right? Like, and Tristan has had to fight his way through, and yet he will always have that edge of being the only brother or the first brother to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, at least to this point, I think he beat him in the playoffs last year too, the Eagles-Bucks game, if I remember correctly.
No, Bucks Zion's owned the games where they've gone head to head.
Oh, I couldn't remember who won that playoff game last year. I know they played in the playoffs, which was pretty cool. But yeah, it's going to be exciting to see Tristan play. I've had the chance to be around him a little bit once or twice, and just a great dude. And like you said, he's always kind of been overshadowed by Zion, so it's cool to see him get his flowers and get the recognition that he deserves. So I don't like the Chiefs. I don't really care for the Eagles either, but I'll be rooting for the Eagles on Sunday.
Man, you just put that out there just like that. Like, wasted no time with your prediction.
Yeah.
I just this show is off to a rousing start.
Miss 1 week and things go crazy.
Look at this. Look at this. This is, ooh, man. All right, we're good. You know what? I think we need to take a little pause right here, and I'm sure they're going to be really happy. This is where we're taking the pause while we hear a word from our presenting sponsor, our friends over at Eternal Roofing. Eternal Roofing and General Contracting is your choice for integrity work in the Texas Hill Country. Taylor Andrus and crew provide experienced quality roofing services with a mission of roofing with faith, serving with integrity, and sheltering homes in the spirit of stewardship. Don't just take our word for it. Here's what satisfied customer Pamela Allen had to say about Eternal Roofing. They did a great job on our patio roof, came out quick for a quote. The quote was very reasonable, and they started and finished work well and quickly. Not a bad thing to say about Eternal Roofing. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email them taylor@eternalroofingtx.com. Once again, big thank you to our friends over at Eternal Roofing. And since this show is off to such a rousing start after a 1 week layoff, we have news for you. We're going to take another week. We will not be back for 2 more weeks. February 19th will be the next show. Maybe by then, no, there's no chance I'm a little better at it. It is what it is at this point, Ben. We just are what we are.
Set the bar low and hopefully we exceed it.
Oh, I do. I exceed low bars, like below them. Is that what you're talking about?
Sure.
Sure. All right. Hey, National Signing Day is today. What a wonderful day to be on and be talking about the Bearcats. Big question. We know we all see this, right? We get inundated if you get on social media with signing day stuff from all over. Well, at least I do. I'm sure most people get you see all these Bearcats signed. Were there any surprises today, or did everything kind of go as expected?
No surprises as in names that we didn't know that we're going to sign and we're just kind of out of nowhere. There are a couple things to note, though. There are a couple guys that they haven't announced that signed, or at least didn't get a public post. So those names right now, and I mean, there's so many names, maybe they're still coming through. And maybe they'll come through tomorrow, whatever it might be. But wide receiver Caleb Black from Arizona State, he's one of them. Tim Burns Jr. from Navarro, the wide receiver, Jaden Johnson, the linebacker from Lindenwood, and Kevin Kalanji, the O-lineman from Maryland. Those 4 didn't get announced by the team publicly today, but all 4 of them had announced their signings or commitments publicly on their own social media accounts. So those were really the only surprises, but it could be nothing. They could just be coming through a little later, or maybe they're enrolling later.
It likely is nothing. Either we're getting those later on today,
right,
or it is tomorrow. Maybe there was something with, this is a contract, right? Like there is some legal involved with this. And so they have to make sure they've dotted the I's and crossed the T's before they announce them. And that's likely what's going on. If not, hey, we got some good stories on our hands.
Yeah, and then another one, Braylon Wortham. He was signing today at like 3:30 at his high school, so that one hasn't gotten announced. But that one's not too surprising, considering he was signing like half an hour ago. I don't know if that was his official signing or just the signing
Well,
event
that's the
they
other
had.
thing, because you don't just sign it; you have to fax it in. Too.
Right.
Or,
So
well, used
I
to
don't.
fax it. I don't know. Scan it now. What do you?
Yeah, text it, email
Text
it. Yeah, just send it to the staff. Yeah.
Dear
Um,
Sam.
so at the moment, nothing to really look into. And I know we were probably going to get into it at some point, but there was one player that has been confirmed that he didn't enroll and he did sign somewhere else, and
Yeah,
we'll get into
that's
that.
Southeastern Louisiana running back Antonio Martin Jr. What
Yep.
he flips to Louisiana Monroe. I don't know if that's that. I don't. I can't sit here and say it's a prestige thing, right? Like a program. We all play NCAA 25. At least most of you do. I don't have a PS5. But we all know about program prestige. I don't think this is a program prestige move, or am I off base with that?
No, it's not. I think it might have been a playing time thing, because even without Martin Jr. coming in, you still have Elijah Green from Indiana. You still have Jarian Parker coming in from Southern Illinois. You've still got Zach Hrabacek back there. Maybe you add one more piece. In the spring window, you still got Coco Brown, who didn't play this last year due to injury, but during his freshman year looked really good. So you've still got pieces there, even without him signing.
Jason Plotkin, you understand me. He says another bye week, as Keeler would say, a get better week for Corey.
Yeah, what's
Man, I'm gonna try. That's all I can give you guys. I'm just gonna try.
I wonder what the term from Longo is going to be for a bye week. Do we go back to saying bye week, or is it something else?
It should just be a week.
Just a regular week?
I do like the get better week though, because that's a positive sort of thing about that. That's one of the things I really appreciate about Keeler is he keeps that positive mindset. It's the little things, right? Like you can make that a negative. Right. Bye week can be a negative thing, but if you turn it into a positive and he uses a get better, I'm sure other coaches have other ones they use that work the same. I appreciate that. You got to keep that. It's hard to be a positive mentality this day and age.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're talking about get bye weeks or get better weeks, bye weeks, whatever you want to call it, because I didn't put it in the show notes, I don't think. But tomorrow the Conference USA schedule comes out. So we'll figure out when our bye week, get better weeks are going to be for this year.
Good transition right there.
Yeah, so
No, it wasn't in the show notes. And I think I saw a tweet about it, but man,
yeah,
my world has been crazy these last few days.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what the schedule looks like. Last year it was a 10-team league, and you played 8 of the 9 teams. This year, or this coming year, it's going to be a 12-team league with UTEP still being here for another year, Missouri State coming in, Delaware coming in. So you're only playing 8 of the 11 teams. And so is there going to be a team that avoids Liberty, Western Kentucky, that kind of group? Or it's going to be interesting. I feel like there's going to be some easier schedules and some harder schedules, because the past 2 years, everybody pretty much played everyone. So I'm interested to see how it kind of shakes out.
Yeah, because okay, let's talk. Let's throw this out there. Is it more fair? We're going to talk fair, equality, however you want to call it right now. Because somebody's going to play a harder schedule than other teams. Should you try to make it more difficult for those teams at the top, maybe a little less difficult for the teams at the bottom, like what the NFL does? Or do you just kind of throw them into a lottery and say you get what you get?
Yeah,
And you don't throw a fit. By the way, Gabe is going to let you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
Well, I think there's 2 parts to that. One, I think ideally I would like to lean towards that kind of scheduling system, but you bring in 2 new teams this year with Missouri State and Delaware, and you don't really know what they're going to look like. Are they top of the league teams? Are they bottom of the league teams? And so it's hard to kind of put that system into place, at least this year, because you don't know what you're going to get from a Delaware or Missouri State. Because I think Missouri State, when they lost 2, maybe 3 games this last year, they were good at the FCS level, and Delaware was really good too. So You couldn't. I don't know if you can classify them as bottom of the league kind of teams. Maybe you can, but I think you'll need to see how the teams look like for at least a year when everybody's in.
We have a question going back to recruiting before we come back to this topic quickly. Brian Judson Jr. on YouTube said, so all the ones announced today on the football page are enrolled already?
Yep, they are. And then, like I said, the other couple ones, maybe they just haven't put them out there just yet. And the Kevin Kalanji one, he didn't announce his signing until this last weekend, I think it was, and the semester had already started. So
we're going to talk about him in a little bit.
Yeah,
that's how recent it was.
Yeah, so he might be a late enrollee or a summer enrollee guy. He might sign to come in for the summer or whatever that might look like. But if they've been announced by the team page, they're on campus and they're there for spring ball.
Jason Plotkin on YouTube asked again, do we think there are protected games in the new format, like Salmon Law Tech being a protected, since, we got to beat those texters out there?
Yeah, I think it's something you have to look at, especially with the travel. I wouldn't say travel constraints, but travel is pretty difficult in this league. Sam Houston up to Delaware is a pretty big trip, and same thing with FIU to Delaware. That's a long trip. I mean, there's some difficult trips here, so having protected games to where you make sure you can play the team closest to you, I think would help a little bit.
Definitely would. Here's a comment we have from Facebook. Chris Gilstrap says, how do the Power 4 schools do the scheduling? They don't play all the schools.
Yeah, I mean, they don't. Some conferences have divisions, which helps. I think divisions would be good, but after next year, you're going back down to 11 teams with UTEP leaving, so that would be a little bit difficult to do. But every conference is different. I mean, ideally, divisions would help kind of create some parity or some fairness. But yeah, some teams play a nine game schedule. We're at an 8 game schedule too. I mean, every conference is really different how they structure things, and I'm sure you see a lot of different things at the JUCO and FCS and all those levels and how they do scheduling too.
We've got double round robins going on, man.
Yep.
That's what's happening with two of the best teams in the country are doing double round robin schedules. We do appreciate, it just continues. We do appreciate all the comments from people who are watching. Get them in. If you're commenting on Twitter, I think we might have that one figured out where they'll pop up here. I'm not 100% sure. So if we don't get to yours on Twitter, don't hate me. We'll try to get back to it here later on. All right. We talked about him a couple of times. Ben, let's introduce Mr. Kevin Kalanji a little bit more to the Cat fans out there. And he is 6'5", 335-pound offensive lineman, held offers, UAB, South Alabama, Kent State, 2 years of eligibility. And here's what's most impressive to me. He's 6'5", 335. He can play both tackle positions, and he's the size of a good guard in the group of 5.
Yeah, he's got legitimate size, and I watched his tape, and he played at both positions. It was a pretty even split. He was kind of the backup tackle at both positions for Maryland. Didn't really start, but got in on a little bit of action at both tackle spots, and I think he's a guy that could really translate his game to the group of 5 level. And that tackle spot for Sam Houston, I mean, as of right now, you'll see what things look like coming out of spring with health and the portal, but you're too deep and feel really good about both of them at both left tackle and right tackle between Kalanji, Orion Irving, Colt Dieterich, and Luke Eckerd. I mean, that's a really good group of 4 that you have there at tackle. So encouraging to get that depth in there and get a 4th guy in at the tackle position.
The key with guys like Kalanji, especially with that size, is their feet. Do they have the quickness with their feet? Keep their feet and their balance under them. Coaches like to call it keeping your shoulder pads over your feet. That's the key for a guy at his size.
Yeah, and he looked like he moved pretty well on the tape that I saw. I watched his full practice tape. It's about 3 minutes on his page, and he looked good. I mean, you can only tell so much from a cut-up practice tape, but I liked what I saw, and I think his game can definitely translate to the G5 level.
Ben did more show prep than I did. How about that? Did you see today you mentioned the Arizona State transfer?
Rigdon.
Yeah, Rigdon committed to Arizona. Now,
we'll see how long he stays.
First off, listen, I get it. And I understand. And I see that. I also want to say for a second that I do give that man credit, right? Like he was 6-man football. He did not have to leave Benjamin. He had another state title, legendary status wrapped up, but he wanted more. He wanted the recruiting rankings, right? Like he was contacting me going, what do I do? And I said, man, get your butt to 11-man football and go make them, show you, right? Make them give you the offer. He did, right? Like it's not easy to bet on yourself, and he bet on himself, and he's done it. Whether you could take, from Air Force to NC State to Wyoming to Arizona, I get it. The thing is, he's getting these offers, and that is a lesson that at least we could take from that. And then there's other lessons on the other side we can also learn.
Yeah, it's definitely impressive, and I think I said it last time we talked about him. I think he got brought up at another point, but teammate of Bearkat signee Anthony Shorter. So that Columbus team was very, very good. Did they win? Did they end up winning state?
Oh yeah, man, their quarterback also was a Oklahoma State guy last I knew.
Yeah, that's a legitimate 3A team.
Yeah, 3A D1, I believe they were. Yeah, because Gunter was D2. So yeah, they were 3A D1. They were extremely legit this year and loaded with talent there. And congrats to them. Congrats to Grayson Rigdon. I hope it does work out for you, man. Tempe's a lovely, lovely place, but boy, is that a dangerous college town. That's about where I'll leave that one. We have. That is the wrong one. I didn't put in the spring schedule. Man, look at this.
You put it in there. I think it was just out of order.
Of course I did. Where did I get it? There it is. Bam. Now I know. Oh, here we go. We got another comment here. Brian Judson Jr. asked again. Aiden Martinez Brown, running back from College Station, was just seen taking a pic with Braylon Wortham at his signing day wearing Sam Houston gear with their paws. Reaction to that?
I mean, I see the picture too. It's probably just his friends. That's my guess. Because Coach Singletary is there too, wearing Sam Houston stuff, and I think that's Cade Corcoran with him as well. Cade played quarterback at College Station. He's a Sam Houston baseball signee. He's in that picture as well. So probably just some friends wearing Sam Houston stuff with Sam Houston connections.
All right, you can be the negative Nancy. I'll come.
That would be my guess.
No, and you're likely right. But hey, honestly, you just never know. You just don't. Yeah. These guys make decisions all the time, right? We've been there, a lot of us, and we've been in those situations, and you know how your mind can change so quickly. Looking at spring football practice, it's another late start. You put this out in a tweet last week that last year began March 20th, this year's March 23rd, and kind of give a reference on this. 2023 was March 1st, and I know some colleges, D1, FCS guys that start mid-February. They'll be starting in a week or two. I am starting to become a believer, and when I've talked to other coaches, and I talked to strength coaches as well, strength coaches 100% want the start date to be as late as possible. And you know what, Ben? If my strength coach wants that, it's because he can get them bigger, better, stronger, faster. I would give him that time. That's just one of the benefits. Are there other benefits for them having such a late start to spring?
Yeah, so that was the very first one, and I think you saw last year that it worked out really well. We saw the success that it led to. So I think you wanted to replicate that, one. And two, I mean, you're still getting staff on campus. You're still getting everybody signed. I mean, there's just so much turnover. And so if you wanted to do this beginning of March, I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing. I think guys can get a little more settled in, become a little more familiar with themselves, especially with how many new players there are. And I think that's another reason why it should be a little bit later also. So I like it. It worked for us last year, and I think it allows us to build a little more continuity before you get into spring ball. People to learn new terminology because it's going to be a new system. I think that's a part of it too. So I like how late it is for us this year.
I do too, because listen, when you're in school, January when you start, February you're trying to learn and kind of get in that rhythm for school, right? And then you get towards May and you start getting to finals, it starts getting busy. This gets it done before any of that, and I think the extra time allows them a chance to get settled for classes, learn the new lingo and the playbook a little more, and it gives them more time in the weight room. I see nothing but benefits.
Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do, and it's kind of the standard 15 practices as well. And I don't know if we're going to have a spring game. We've really only had one spring game over the past 5 or 6 years, really. They did one last year and kind of coupled it with the auction the same day. So I would lean towards there probably not being a spring game on here, especially since it's not on the announcement. But that's not really out of the ordinary. And like we saw with what Nebraska's doing, a lot of these schools are going away from a public spring game. Just kind of with the college landscape, and they don't want to put a ton of stuff on film or have their guys out there. So I would imagine there's probably not a spring game. That's not confirmed, but that's just kind of my guess.
Coaches are coaches, man. They always think everybody's watching all the time to steal. And you know why they think that?
What's that?
Because they are.
Yeah.
What coaches are doing, man.
Yep.
It's a pretty easy reason as to why.
Yep. That's what they're paid to do. They got to win.
Yeah, look, and it's not illegal. If you're going to put it out there, it's not illegal. One more thing we have on the football before we get into the next break and hear from our friends over at Eternal Roofing is speaking of strength and conditioning, the Cats have a new strength and conditioning coach, and I'm not going to give you his name, but if you want it, I can tell you how to get it. Go to catfund.com, sign up, minimum $10 a month. You can give as much as you want, monthly, one time, whatever you do. You sign up at CatFund, $10 a month. You get into the exclusive Cat Fund section over at catfans.com. Hopefully you do not get the Corey Hogue treatment.
Yep.
All right, but there you can find the name of the strength and conditioning coach for the Bearcats.
Yeah, I like the hire too. It sounds like he's been on campus for about 2 to 3 weeks, kind of since school picked up. Has some connections with Coach Longo from the past, and so yeah, I like it. I think he's going to do a good job, and we'll see what he can do with this additional time that they get before spring ball.
To be fair, the Corey Hogue treatment should really be like in Friends, Monica's room,
Yep.
or that really should be like the stepchild type of thing. That's really what it should kind of go with.
It's not hard to go above and beyond the Corey Hogue treatment. If you're going below it, there's something wrong with you.
Look, if you're below it, I'm sorry.
Impressive.
Yeah, you sink to new lows. I don't even want to see where you're at.
Yeah.
Hey, we've been having, I told you, meetings. Obviously, I moved, as people can see. Just so people know, the reason I moved, because we're about to get into here in a couple segments, our basketball section, is because I just put all my money on the Cats not making the Conference USA tournament. So I'm pretty confident that one's going to cash this year, Ben.
Cashing out early, right? In a 10-team tournament.
That's right.
But in Corey Hogue's world, it doesn't start till you get through the play-in. So
you got to get quarterfinals, man.
I just don't want people to get confused that it's only the top 8, because before the season started, I thought it was, but it's a different format from last year.
I roll with it. I bet the whole house on them not making it.
We'll see. You never know. We'll get into it more later. I've got some.
So what I was saying too, though, and we will get into basketball more. That's kind of a little preview with a little levity thrown in. We've been having meetings, and we are currently a podcast on the Republic of Football Network, which is an extension of Dave Campbell's football. That could be changing soon, Ben. A little teaser. There's a good chance that it just becomes part of the Dave Campbell's podcast network. We're trying to put our brand under the icon, the idol, the legend, Dave Campbell, and there's many different ways we're doing that. And by the way, if you're listening to this on the Republic of Football Network, you read at texasfootball.com, you subscribe. Thank you very much. Number one, Number two, there are some changes in the works, and over the next 1 to 3 to 5 years, this place is going to make a lot of changes, and I think you'll begin to see those. Some you'll see soon. Some of them are very significant changes, and then some you'll start to see rolled out over the summer into 2026 is going to get really exciting for us, at least. We're really looking forward to that. So stay tuned. If you subscribe, thank you so much. We're thinking of every way we can to make you happy. That's what what does our base want? And we only know that because you and your interactions with us. So thank you. As for the podcast, March to the Pod. Please like and subscribe to the podcast and follow us on the various social media platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at March to the Pod. It's all one word. March the number 2, the Pod. We're going to hear a brief ad from our friends over at Eternal Roofing. And when we come back, got some rather good news that we've had a couple weeks ago that I'd like to share as well. So here's a quick word from our friends. Eternal Roofing only uses the finest materials in the roofing business while providing an exceptional warranty. Why do they use CertainTeed products? Because they complement any appearance, provide exceptional and reliable strength, and are known for their enduring performance. Here's what Shane Sosa had to say about Eternal Roofing. Taylor and his team are amongst the highest level of professionals. They care about their customers and go above and beyond just doing the job. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539 or email Taylor at eternalroofingtx.com. Huge thank you to our friends over at Eternal Roofing, Taylor Andrus and Company. They do a tremendous job. And last week we had some kind of numbers, some podcast numbers come in through the network to kind of see where we were. And I'm only going to speak for myself, Ben, but I was there's room to improve, but I was happy with where we were in our location in the rankings in the network.
Yeah, just continuing to move up, and we'll be at the top very soon, right?
We're going to keep trying to get there. There's two things that we're going to need. One, we need Corey Hogue to get the hell out the way. Right? He's definitely
got to start there, right?
Got to start right there. And number two, we need all our listeners who thank you so much. You're the reason why we are in the position we're in and why we have this show. Tell your friends about it. Spread the word. Let them know. The more people we get, man, the higher up we get on there. And if we get to number 1, that's going to be extremely impressive because, like Gambling Gauchos, man, at Texas Tech, they're just an incredible show. They've got an incredible following. I mean, I believe the Bearcats can do that. I do. I really do.
There.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got the best fans. Conference USA figured that out real quick, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
That it didn't take them any time. So, we have now. Let me go back. There we go. Do this. See, I told you, if Corey Hogue gets out the way, it's a chance to go to number 1. We're talking softball here. Conference USA preseason poll. Your Bearcats come in 6th. Liberty, they call them the Lady Flames.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Ben, we're gonna have a minute here on this. I'm sorry, I cannot just roll past Lady Flames and not have a bit of a conversation. First, I have a question. When did a flame get a gender?
Today, apparently.
And why do we need to distinguish? Do flames have to do something to create other flames?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even know. I had never even noticed that. And I feel like I've seen a lot of other preseason polls, and I haven't seen it say Lady Flames on there.
Well, then let's go to number 2, because we got a minute here. WKU Lady Toppers. Lady Top. Ben, I'm going to get in trouble with this.
Yeah, I was going to say we might as well stop over ahead.
I'm going to get in trouble. I do not think that a hilltop has a gender, Ben.
I don't either.
But apparently
it does.
It does. All right, third. Ooh, I got through that bit. I did not go to the bad place yet. Yet.
Well,
Number
it's interesting because I guess they changed it, but or maybe they changed to it. But I thought Law Tech was the Lady Texters, or maybe they moved away from the Lady Texters. It was one or the other.
Maybe Conference USA Josh is over there just making stuff up, man. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
So Liberty had 9 first place votes. The other first place vote went to number 3, New Mexico State. Is that something where it was New Mexico State's coach? Because not that I've seen this happen in preseason polls. I'm not saying, Ben, that I've ever seen it. But there's a chance. We don't want to give the whole game away. Is there a chance that this was the head coach trying to, show some confidence in his team?
Probably.
Interesting. Notice I also said his when it could be there. Anyway, number 4, La Tech, the Lady Texter Bulldogs. Number 5, Jack State. Bearkats, we told you they come in 6. The Miners out at UTEP 7. FIU 8. Middle Tennessee State's the Blue Raiders. They're 9th. Kennesaw State. If they put ladies there, I might think there's actually something to that. The Owls are 10th. They garnered a total of 20 points. Was there anything on the preseason poll that surprised you?
Yeah, not really. This is about where I expected us to be. I honestly thought we might be a little bit higher. I kind of expected anywhere within the 4 to 7 range. So pretty in line with what I was thinking. You finished 7th last year. I think this is a much better team than what you had last year. So we'll see how it pans out. I know we'll get into it a little bit, but not too surprised by this preseason ranking.
We are going to find out soon about the softball team. Like
this time tomorrow.
Soon we will know. Oh, by the end of this weekend. Ooh, if they can survive this week, I'm telling you, this Bearkat Classic. I am a softball fan, sure. I'm a basketball fan too. But if the weather was decent and not nasty, and I had a choice between being outside to watch softball this weekend or being in the Coliseum, not gonna lie, man, I think I'd choose the softball for most of these games.
Yeah,
these are good,
especially the one on Sunday.
Yeah. Wait till you hear about that one. Preseason all-conference teams also came out, and hey, we got 2 Bearkats on there. You've got is it Elia Hebel?
Yeah.
Ooh, and Bella Perez. Man, I'm on my game with name pronunciations today. Everything else is off.
At least you were doing something right.
That's right. Any surprise to see these 2 players on the team?
No, and I guess we'll start there on the left side with Bella Perez. She was a part of the McNeese team that won the Southland last year, was a second-team all-conference player there. Plays catcher, hit 284 as a true freshman, had a slugging percentage at almost 500. So really impressive freshman season as a starting catcher for a McNeese team that was really, really good. So she's one of the 2 preseason all-conference players. And then you've got Aaliyah Hebel. She's been with the team for quite a while now. Not surprised to see that she's on this list too. I'm pulling up her stats right now, but was probably our best hitter last year. And let's see here. Hit 312 with 20 extra base hits, slugging percentage at almost 600, on-base percentage at 425. So no surprise that she's on there. And so 2 well-deserved honors and 2 players to definitely keep an eye out for this year.
And what position does Elia play?
She plays, why am I blanking here? It should be right here on the list. Infield, yep. I don't know why I
just said infield. I didn't know if you had a more specific location.
No.
Look, Bella Perez might be the biggest addition to the softball team this year.
Oh, yeah.
Because you are fortifying your defense. The number one thing, the most important thing on a baseball team, I'm telling you, it is your catcher. Your catcher is your quarterback. They've got to know all your defensive alignments. They've got to know the other team's hitters. They need to know your team's strengths and weaknesses. They need to relay the signals not only to the pitchers, but they need to relay the signals to the infield so that they know what play is on, what they're running each pitch. Very important to have a top catcher, probably, and to see her come in and get put on that team. I think the rest of the conference is I don't know, maybe they should have thought about that before they put the Bearcats at number 6.
Well, and she's only a sophomore too, so she's got 3 years of eligibility left. So if that's someone you can keep around, I mean, that is a huge piece for the years to come. Ellie is a senior, so she's only got 1 year left, but yeah, definitely a piece that could be here for a while. And this is a pretty experienced team this year, and I'm sure we'll get into it. But I really like what they bring back from last year and kind of the additions that they brought in.
Well, let's go, man. Give us your thoughts on this team, and what you expect of them, and where you think they will be within Conference USA when it's all said, when it comes tournament time, because we know they'll make the tournament.
Oh yeah, for sure. They did last year, so they will this year. Yeah, so I think we can start on the pitching side. You returned a lot. You lost Darian Grahams last year, who was your number 3, but you returned your top 2 pitchers, who were both true freshmen last year. So the first one is Amy Abke, had a 3.3 ERA and 111 innings as a true freshman. So she's probably your top of the rotation starter. Had a really big year as a freshman, and now she's a sophomore. So excited to see what she can do there. So that's pitching. You also bring back, sorry, I'm trying to go back to the roster here to get all their stats. Where did she go? I know you bring in Kendall Danielle. She's the Tarleton transfer. She pitched a lot of big innings last year for Tarleton. So what a hit on her. And then here's Abigail Young, who also pitched a lot as a true freshman last year, 73 innings with a 4.8 ERA. So a little bit of mixed results there, but you return 2 of your top 3 starters from last year. You bring in Danielle from Tarleton, who pitched a decent amount there. You also brought in some junior college pitching as well. So I really like what we have on the mound, considering we were decent in the circle last year with 2 true freshmen as your top players. And now you bring both of them back. You had Daniel from Tarleton. You also had Mackenzie Jenkins from McLennan. She had a 3.1 ERA and 114 innings at the JUCO level last year. So you've got a lot of experience in the circle for this next year, and I think the pitching could be a real strength.
Where do you see them finishing in the conference?
I know Liberty is going to be really good. La Tech's going to be good. New Mexico State's going to be good. I think a 4th place finish would be nice, and I think it's something that's obtainable. We saw this team flash last year, and I think they've been slowly progressing because they made it to the regional in 19, beat Texas in the opening game of the regional, and then things kind of really went south, and I think things have started to kind of move back in the right direction, which is good to see. And you've returned so much from last year. Like I said, 2 of your top 3 starters. You bring back some experience, or bring in some experience from the JUCO ranks and other Division I schools. I think you returned 5 or 6 of your starters in the lineup, depending on how you looked at the lineup from last year. Return your best hitter in Hebel, bring in Perez. You lost your catcher in Hannah Schaefer last year, so bring back your best hitter. You fill in one of the needs you needed. You bring back 5 or 6 quality hitters, and I think this is a team that can compete in the top half of Conference USA.
Nice. I like the way that sounds. Jason Plotkin coming in with some comments on the discussion we had earlier. Lady Toppers is a bit historic. Dot Richardson, former Olympic gold medalist, coaches the Lady Flames. Good stuff.
There we go.
There it is. Good job. Thank you, Jason. Now, the Bearkat Classic and the Bearkat season starts tomorrow. New Mexico at 5. All these games, by the way, are at the Bearkat softball complex. Is it a complex in reality, or is it just like one field?
Well, I mean, it's side by side to the baseball field. There's there's batting cages there indoor. So I guess you could call it a complex. And speaking of the stadium, it will be the first games on the new turf. So since the stadium opened, it had always been natural grass. They got turf put in this offseason. So a little bit of a notable addition to the stadium. Definitely
going to pop a little more. And, you get with turf, you get truer bounces, man. That's a big thing for a filter.
It is.
It is big. So, okay, let's get into this schedule. Thursday night, 5 p.m., New Mexico. Just kind of briefly run down what you expect to see from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is I want to see the development of Abigail Young and Amy Abke in the circle, see what they look like this weekend against some pretty good teams, especially with Texas on Friday. And then just kind of see, what you're going to get from a lot of these players in the lineup. Like I said, you return 5 or 6, you know what you're going to get out of Bella Perez. But there are a couple holes in there. And so what are you going to do to be able to fill those holes? Who fills those? I know a player like Samantha, I don't want to butcher her last name. Grater, I think is how you pronounce it. Graeter. She's a player that saw some good success at Louisiana the last 3 years. And so maybe she's a player that can step in and fill one of those holes in the outfield. So I think the big thing is the development of your two now sophomore pitchers. And then what are the couple of holes that you do have in the lineup look like? And I think those are the biggest things I'm looking for.
We will know because after New Mexico Thursday at 5 p.m., Bryant on Friday at 4:30 p.m., Tulsa Saturday at 3:30, followed by Texas A&M Corpus Christi at 6. Those are two quality games. Yep. And then it ends Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. The Bearcats face number 2 Texas. And I want to say this is not like the Texas teams of since Cat Osterman. This team, they're number 2, and they are legit.
Oh yeah, yeah, so and this is the second time in 3. Yeah, and it's interesting. It's the second time in 3 years they've come to Texas. I think. And Jason's saying Texas plays in 3 different tournaments in 3 days. I did see that, and they were just kind of making a tour around and just hitting different places.
They're playing Lafayette, Lamar, and Sam Houston.
They're not a part of the whole classic or tournament or whatever you want to call it.
And look, Mike White I think he's a smart man. He's a heck of a pitcher. He was a great pitcher back in his day when he played softball.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're really good, and
they are.
I mean, it's good to test yourself early on, and I think you've got a little bit of everything here with Southland team like A&M Corpus. You've got Texas coming in. You've got Bryant coming in. New Mexico. Teams from really all over the country see different styles of play and some winnable games, some games that are really going to test you. And like you said, I think we'll have a good idea of what this team looks like after these 5 games.
Yeah, I mean the Texas game's an obvious must attend if I'm in Huntsville, right? But the other, it would be a Saturday, man. That Tulsa, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, that could be a fun doubleheader.
Yeah, and I feel like I'd have to go look back, but I feel like we've played Tulsa like 3 years in a row in softball. I might just be dreaming here, but I feel like we've played them like 3 years in a row when it comes to softball.
Well, you can dream a little more while we listen to another word from our friends over at Eternal Roofing. Eternal Roofing is locally owned and dedicated to giving back to the community by supporting local organizations and charities. They are also the winner of Next Door's Neighborhood Faves for 2 consecutive years. And as you know, if you've listened to this podcast, Eternal Roofing is your choice for Christmas lights. They provide premium lights tailored to fit your home, season-long maintenance, and hassle-free removal. Kyle Tatum said, "They're very professional and great quality, on time and clean, and really made me feel like they cared for me and my home." Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email taylor@eternalroofingtx.com.
I wasn't dreaming.
You weren't dreaming.
4 years in a row.
Wow. He was not dreaming. He's with us. That's good. One of us has to be on point today, man.
I knew that felt right, and it was 4 years in a row. So
we brought this up earlier when we talked about the strength and conditioning coach, and I think we need to bring it up again. And this time I'm going to pass it over to Ben, and he can tell you more about how to get involved with your Bearcats through the Cat Fund.
Yeah, definitely want to get involved. Like it shows there, cat-fund.com, and support Sam Houston athletes. We're coming off probably our most successful fundraiser that we've had to date with our baseball fundraiser, which was about a week and a half ago. And it was just an incredible success. And we want you to be a part of the success too, supporting these athletes. Going to cat-fund.com, you get access to exclusive content across different sports. You get access to Cat Fund merchandise and just a bunch of other stuff. We had our meet and greet with Coach Longo Saturday, not about a week and a half ago also. So you get access to exclusive events, merchandise, articles, information while supporting the athletes. So definitely want to sign up and become a member today and support these athletes.
All for as low as $10 a month. And I'm glad you mentioned the auction, because last time we had a show, you were running ragged getting ready for that auction, man. There was so much, and I was glad to hear it, and now I'm glad to hear that it was a fantastic success.
Yeah, it was huge. We had almost 200 people there, food and drinks, 21 live auction items, 30 silent auction items. Hayden Wesneski from the Houston Astros was there. We honored Coach Mark Johnson, who was also the head coach at A&M, one of only 40 coaches in the country to ever have 1,000 wins. Coach John Skeeters, who was the head coach at Sam Houston for 27 years, led the team to 10 postseason appearances. So we honored both of them, raised a lot of money, had a good time, and it went well.
And we want to remind you once again that we will be back on February 19th. We'll be back in 2 weeks with the next show. And when we come back, boy, I hope we got better news on some of this basketball stuff we got going on, especially those of us who have bet our house, right?
Oh, yeah.
Let's get going. A lot of cash. Let's get going here with the women. Starting on, let's see. Oh, no. Starting last week, there was the one game last week.
Yeah, it was just one game for each team.
They played La Tech.
There it says right there, the Lady Texters.
The lady, yes, they are in basketball. I know that for sure. That's why I like to call them the Bulldogs when it's the women's team. I'm just me, man. I'm an instigator. That's just what I am.
Yep.
But really good win at home today. That really smart guy at Sports of SHSU said solid defense, which is what we're used to seeing, and the offense did just enough to get it done. When this team can get quality offensive production, they can play with almost anyone in the league. It sounds like something we've put on repeat, Ben, but it hasn't changed, and it's not going to change this year.
Yeah, it's not, especially as long as Kayla Kelly continues to be out. And, I mean, it feels like every game outside of Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee is played in the 50s and 60s, and a lot of them you've lost just because you haven't gotten that offensive performance. You've lost 61-45, 69-54, a couple of, you lost giving up, what is it here? I'm trying to find another one. 66 points you lost, giving up 66 points. So if you could find a way to even just score in the upper 60s in conference play, you could win games. And they finally did. They broke through. They got to 70 points, which was good to see. And if they could just do enough offensively, they've got a chance to win games. And we'll see if they can do it. I know Raven Justice said after the game they put in a completely new offensive system the week leading up to the game. So it looks like that might have paid off because you're playing, they're 2-8 in conference play, I think it is. At this point.
Well, let's see. Let's go over there.
2-7. 2-7.
By the way, when the coach is frustrated enough to put, I as a fan, I like hearing that.
Yeah, and so 9 games, and I think 6 of them have been played in the 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
Another one. Yeah, and so if you can find a way to get up to 65, 70 points, you've got a shot to start winning some of these games. You've won 2. You've lost 3 where you've given up points in the 60s, and so if you can find a way to
wins the second round through, I think it's possible.
Yeah, it definitely, I think it is. And so we'll see what they can do, but it was definitely encouraging to see the offensive output finally come through because they haven't been that far off so far this year.
Atop the conference remains Liberty and Middle Tennessee State. They are 8-1. WKU 6-3. FIU 5-4. Right behind them are the La Tech, the Bulldogs.
Yeah, It was a good win. It was a team right in the middle of the conference.
It is. La Tech, New Mexico State. And by the way, the difference between 4th and Sam Houston is 3 games right now.
Yeah.
Right?
And
like
5th is 2 games, yeah.
Yeah, 5th is 2 games. It's not out of the realm of possibility. If that offense hits and they get going, they can be a problem, and we will know. We will know a little more about them being a problem this week when they're home against Florida International. And I'm going to put the standings back up so we can see Florida International's one of those teams right there. They're 4th in the conference, 5-4. They're 1-4 away from home. Now they're 4-0 at home, and we know the Bearcats lost 61-54 on January 11th.
Yep.
But Thursday night, tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m., we need you in Johnson Coliseum because the Panthers are not good on the road, and we don't want them to get a chance to learn how to win on the road.
It's a game you really need, and I think it's a game you probably should win. 61-54 on the road, another game that was played in the 50s or 60s. Mm-hmm. You get them at home this time. It's a team that right there in the middle of the conference, similar to La Tech, who you just played. So it's a game that you need. I think it's a game we can win and probably should win.
Yeah, by the way, La Tech's 0-5 on the road in conference.
Wow, yeah, I just saw that.
That's crazy. So then, hey, Saturday, 2 p.m. Saturday, they play Liberty. Liberty's 8-1, 5-0 at home, 3-1 on the road in the conference, 15-5 overall. The Lady Non-Gendered Flames took down the Bearcats 69-54 on January 9th. Ben, it's going to take the best game the Bearcats have played this year to probably make that a one-possession game at the end.
Yeah, for sure. I will add that game at Liberty, you were down by 1 at the half, and then it kind of got away from you in the second half. And second leg of a road trip, you get them at home, you never know what can happen. I mean, you showed you can play with them for a half, and I think you have to at least get a split this weekend. But I think there's a way, if they play well, that maybe they could find a way to upset Liberty, go 2-0, and really get back into the thick of things. But we'll see if this offensive performance can keep going for another couple games.
This weekend I would be very happy with a 1-1.
Yeah, I think you have to go 1-1.
3-8, that's fine going into next week. You got through Liberty. There's just, if you can pull it off, fantastic. But that game against FIU tomorrow is a must-win, in my opinion, and both games will be televised on ESPN Plus. Now, we move over to not as good of news, and it's a 5-game losing streak for the men's basketball program after a heartbreaking 66-61 overtime loss to La Tech on the road, which would have been a big-time win for this program. Ben, this team is so agonizingly close.
Yeah.
But they just, I hear them. I see them, man. I see the post. Keep doubting. We're here. Do not give up on me, right? I see it, and you're fighting your rear ends off. I don't know how. I have no idea what. But I really hope this team soon can figure out how to win these really close games at the end instead of going overtime and or losing in overtime. Because, by the way, their overtime record this year, it cannot be good.
It's 0-3.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, 0-2 in conference play. Yeah, 1-8 and overall in conference play, and not a single one of those losses has been in double digits. I think 2 of the last 3 losses have been in overtime. And it's been brutal. I mean, you got to find a way to finish games, and you've got a chance to kind of go into a get-right game against FIU, the one team that you've won against so far. You got to win it. You have to win it. So
yeah. I know you're on the road. They're 1-4 at home. You have to win this game. Good Lord, man. Because when I look at this at the conference standings here, Jacksonville State at 7-2, they lead. They've got a 1-game lead over Middle Tennessee. 2 games behind the Gamecocks are Liberty, La Tech, UTEP, and Western Kentucky. Oh, and Kennesaw State. Oh, hey, and New Mexico State. Yes, that is 6 teams are tied for 3rd right now. It is insanely difficult. Sam Houston, 2 wins would be fantastic. Liberty has been susceptible to getting beat at home so far during this conference year. So has Florida International. This is a great chance to turn that ship. I just can't figure out, and I'm sure Coach Mudge is the same place I am right now. What button do I have to push to get us to figure it out?
And here's really what it boils down to. I need to find this picture. The second half droughts of this team have just been astonishing. So against Liberty, and they've all been in the second half. Against Liberty, you had a span where you scored 1 field goal in 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Against Jacksonville State in the second half, you had 1 field goal over a span of 6 minutes. Against Middle Tennessee, you had 0 field goals in 6 minutes and 14 seconds. Against Western Kentucky, you had 0 field goals in 5 minutes and 48 seconds. And against Louisiana Tech, you had 2 field goals in the final 11 minutes of the game. And none of those losses were by more than, I think, 5 or 6 points.
If I know Coach Mudge, he's breaking down each one of those sequences you talked about to see what similarities there are. Maybe there's something in there that he can find. I have a feeling Coach Mudge is probably doing that as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. And so as injured and beat up as they've been all year, I think the pieces are still there. I mean, if you just kind of cut those runs in half, no field goals in 3 minutes instead of 6 minutes, you win that game. No field goals or we had 2 field goals in 11 minutes this last game. If you make it 4 in 11 minutes, you win that game. You just got to find a way to get over the hump. I think you have the pieces, but you got to figure out how to win. That's what it comes down to.
All right. Well, Thursday night, ESPN Plus, 6 p.m. They're in Miami, Florida, playing Florida International. They beat Florida International at home 81-74 on January 11th. And as Negative Nancy over here likes to note, that was 5 losses ago. But listen, let's say they win Florida International. Let's say they're able to go there at Florida International 1-4 at home, right? All right, they get that win. Saturday becomes big in a lot of ways, not only because at 3 p.m. they're playing Liberty, not only because they were in that game before losing 76-68 on January 9th, but Ben, the Bearcats are on television. They're on ESPNU. That is big, and a win there does a lot for recruiting as well.
Yeah, it'd be a huge morale boost, and it gets you kind of into that middle pack of teams that are just kind of clustered there. And if you can find a way to win those 2 this weekend, you finish with, 5 of your last 7 at home. So if you can find a way to build some momentum this week and you go into a really big home stretch to where you can maybe start to build on things, but one thing at a time, and you got to figure out how to finish and close out these games.
Yeah, no, look, at this point in time, it's tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And then after tomorrow night, it's Saturday. You can't at 1-8, 2-7. You can't afford to look past tomorrow night. That's just how this team has got to do at this point. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, it just feels so eerily similar to the 2023 Sam Houston football season. A ton of injuries. You're not getting blown out of any game. Every game's coming down to the final play, go into overtime. You just haven't found a way to finish. I don't know. It just feels so eerily similar to that season.
Yeah, it does. Hopefully they get it fixed. Hopefully they get it worked out, and hopefully I didn't annoy you too much with some of the shenanigans today. It's been 2 weeks since I was able to pull some. Obviously, I got to have something.
Yeah, and then in 2 more weeks we'll have some more.
In 2 more weeks, back with more shenanigans. That's right. Thank you very much to everyone who watched and listened We are so grateful for you. Without you, we don't even have a show or a reason to even record this thing. We'd probably still talk Bearcats, though. Until next time, we got 2 weeks until February 19th. Ben, take us out and get us some wins here.
Yeah, eat 'em up, Cats, and let's go win on the hardwood and on the diamond this weekend.
It's a get better Corey week.